We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape, and some informer friend we lovely. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Good evening, and welcome to the Global Television Group. This is your program, The People's Point of View, and I am your host, Producer Wayne. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. I hope my system doesn't malfunction because I've been malfunctioning. They are going earlier. How is everyone doing this evening? Good evening to my community of parity and all my family members. Good evening to all my moderators, platform membership holders, viewers and subscribers, commenters, live viewers, dead live viewers. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Sunshine, Gloria Maris, Denise Hall, Elaine Turner, Natalia Freeman. Good evening and welcome. Marcia Este, good evening, good evening. Debbie Jervis, Jamaican Foodie. EM, Beat and Teach. Abina Sarkodi. Sharon Powell. Doris White. Violet Deary, good evening and welcome. First time seeing you on the Global Television Group. Althea, good evening and welcome. Beat and Teach, Wagwan, Wagwan. Good evening all, good evening. Welcome, thank you all for joining us. There are a few things in the Gleaner that I want to go through with you. Particularly Marlene Muller, who fought on her phase 1 of the constitutional review. She said phase 1 recommendation settled. But I'm going to read it phone because I don't know if any of us see it and have gone through it yet. But I will definitely be going through it with you tonight. Because, you know, these people tend to confuse us. The truth is I have not read it yet myself. There's also an article I love to read. Dr. Abraham's article, and he wrote an article in the Gleaner commentary on whataboutism and binary thinking. So that we will also explore tonight. We're still confused by the whole Paula situation. Step aside but not gone. Gone but is somewhere in a corner hiding. There are so much unsettled issues. Mary Messenger TV, how are you? Patricia Matthews. There are so many unsettled issues that this government really needs to settle to move on. Vernon Mitchell. If the government really wants to get on with the business of the people, the business of government, the business they were elected to do, then the government need to clear the air, clear up the backlog, and move on with the people's business. You cannot plan to listen, but only listen on your term. Because particularly when this man was in St. Thomas and he promised to listen to us. It is quite obvious that it was on his turn. Let's take a bit of reminder of the Prime Minister. I believe it's this one.
You hear how my voice sound? It sound raspy. This voice is for the ladies.
Straight. Hey, my Prime Minister, straight.
So all the man them just listen. But my voice is this way because I have been through the nooks and crannies of Jamaica. Reasoning with the people. And there's a lot of talking. Because there are a lot of issues facing Jamaicans in their community. This election is a local government election. It is not an election to determine who is the Prime Minister and your member of Parliament. It is an election to determine the representatives who have responsibilities for local, municipal, and infrastructure issues. So municipal issues like your garbage collection, and infrastructure issues like your local roads, your parish council roads, and your local water supply. That is what this election is about. Because of political desperation and opportunity, such man has tried to turn this into a national election. I don't know the wisdom in that political calculus. Because what it has done is to go and stir up Labour Party answers. Because people realize that they have to come out and support their government. Their government is doing well, they understand that. At the national level, they see the change that has happened, the transformation that has happened. The frustration is not at the national level. The frustration, the pain points, is at the local level. The road, your water, your garbage collection, your interaction and interface with the transport system, and your interaction and interface with other public services. That is where the frustration is. So I've spent the last 8 years with the team, making sure that we have a strong economy. Now, we're going to make sure that the economy is a caring economy, an economy that deals with the issues that affect you.
Izzy Holder, Shauna Smith, my boss, Plains Truth. Good evening and welcome. Okay, let me give you that. Then there was no frustration at the national level. It was just at the local level. Now, since the general election, since the budget presentation, since the Speaker Clark role, there has been a lot of frustration at the national and the local level. So now, Prime Minister, you have frustration across the country and all levels because the disrepute that the Holness family has brought our parliament in, the disrepute that the JLP-led administration has brought Head Teacher K. Wagwan, the Office of the Director of Prosecution in, the debacle of the mustering up to the judiciary in order to protect their assault on the Constitution. Since then, under Holness, there has been many frustration at the local and the national level. The water, wanna promise to listen to about, because you say no, are the water on the road, Rosie, our problem and you hear and you go listen. But to cover up under Holness, your administration lack off. Wanna do? Wanna introduce a drought. Because from now to the general election, Christine Gilbert, Violet Watson, from now to the general election, the Prime Minister will not be able, Ladybug, to do much about the irrigation and distribution problem the country faces. So how are we going to solve that problem? Let's introduce a drought. And then when the general election campaign comes and you are tackled once again on your failed promises, it was an act of God. We cannot do what we cannot do anything against what divine intervention has done. It was an act of God. The drought wasn't Labour Party problem. But what Labour Party did was make sure water was trucked across the country. And with farmer them was supplied with trucks to truck water to we farm them across the country. So even if Labour government buck up an obstacle in the way, Labour government always have a way to help the people. This will be Andrew Holness's narrative. The camera keep freezing. A bit malfunction I go on with my camera, but never mind. When still hear me. But that is the narrative that the Prime Minister will be running with come next general election campaign, because an act of God prevented him. An act of God prevented him from carry out his promise. Kate M, how are you? My camera is just freezing. I've frozen on your screen, haven't I? Janet Bailey. Janet Riley. How are you? It will come around anyway. But the garbage collection, the water, the roads, okay. One of the things what we see them are run across the country doing is patching roads all across the place. They're running busy around the country patching roads because they are thinking that if them patch the roads and them fool with about the drought, then all will be fine, you see. All will be fine as long as them fix it with few blue chalk. Now look on a big parish like St. Elizabeth, a farming community like St. Elizabeth, Cynthia B. It looks like they want with a jump and shout, hooray. So them give 2 water chuck to St. Elizabeth. 2 dege water chuck, Jacqueline Murray Raymond. In our big farming parish. In our big farming parish, 2 dege chuck. And they expect we to run around and glorify them over these nonsense. Mavis Gooden. In my opinion also, a part of this introduced drought is a part of the climate change agenda we are being coerced down the road. It's because of climate change why we are having drought in spring. It is because of climate change. Minister of Water flying all over the place. Minister telling lies about where hotel is getting water from to build their 3,000 room investment. While the people in the local communities, me unfrozen now. Ubuntu, how are you? While the people in the local communities are under human rights abuse, water is a human right. Water is not a privilege, it is a right. You don't get water because you behave decently. You don't get water because your community rich and upper class, and these up here must not have anything to complain about. No, water is a right for all of us. In my community, one pipeline bus when me show on the wedding, and for 1 week it was feathering in the air to a lamp pole height. 1 whole week in a drought country. I must say when yesterday hour, on Monday, them come fix it. Me freeze again. And it was there for a week. Libert Peart, how are you? JC, just spewing water in the air in a drought country, in a community where we're struggling with water distribution. And then Douglas Allen, them I come tell you, say, we have drought. These people take with the national fools because it's only because them take with a fool why they can't sit down and tell we so. But for those of you who wasn't under this morning program, Amber Joy has now have her own YouTube channel, Amber News and Amber Joy's News and Reviews. Subscribe to her. It's another social justice warrior thrown under the bus by politicians and their lapdog private sector friend, Irie FM, who all of a sudden, no wonder why Mutabaruka turned kosher lapdog over there and is not the sharp, cutting edge, stepping razor. Listen to the name, stepping razor. That's how sharp Mutabaruka was. Cutting edge. And we can't talk about water. We cannot talk about state abuse. I'm going to pin the link to her channel again. Hold on a second. I'm going to pin the link to her channel again. Bear with. One second though. I want to pin it so you can see it. Jamaica people sometimes want to irritate me. Can't I just love the liberties? Anybody see Nigel, by the way? Huh? Anybody see Nigel? Hold on you. Has anyone seen the Clark? Me saw back a wall. We budget fix yet? Hold on there. One, that's it. There you go. Her channel, the link to her channel is pinned in the top of the chat. Give her channel some support so she can hurry up and get to the 1,000 block where she can start to go live. Give her channel some support, people. She's standing up for the voiceless. This situation that she spoke about and is being maligned about by her employer and the government, even though IRFM sales manager Nicholas Evans is given vague information. She's still a member of the team. She's still slotted for the Easy Skanking program, blah, blah, blah. But my understanding, she did not broadcast yesterday. You said it's an internal matter. So if there is an internal matter, Mr. Nicholas Evans, obviously there is something going on. Okay, she's not sacked. Is she being suspended? Is she being placed on leave while an investigation takes place? But the whole on a sell out because Sima Mutabaruka turn lapdog over there. Come see in a pandemic and jokings. Mutabaruka was one where push the joking agenda pan holy pound. Muta was one of them where did a push that joking agenda pan holy pound. So me notice all of a sudden IRFM not sharp anymore. IRFM toned down. IRFM people them toned down. A long time I don't listen to Kabuma. I don't know if she get toned down as well. But this whole unfolding, IRFM forget to beat me so. IRFM forget the beating in this because IRFM is not owned by the government. From my checks, IRFM, Lenford Wilson. The government don't have partnership in an IRFM. Even if IRFM have advertising contract with the government, IRFM broadcasters are allowed to criticize the government. Cliff Hughes, Nationwide, have the most contract with the government, Annie Jones. And Nationwide do criticize the government. The issue here is because Matthew Samuda was caught telling a lie, Norman Ferguson. Matthew Samuda was caught telling a lie or giving false information. And because they've been caught out in public, then somebody must be thrown under the bus. Wasn't it the same similar scenario when Juliet was caught lying that there was no report? Miss Curtis got thrown under the bus. So you see that trend from Labour, where there's no sign coming from them that at any point they will take responsibility for any of their blunders. Yvonne Green. It is the reason why the Speaker Clark role is running in public to no ends and playing deaf and blind to that particular issue is not going to solve the problem, nor will it go away. The whole nation is up in arms about what happened to Miss Curtis. Members across civil society, members across the vlogging community, the ordinary Jamaican on the street is not having what happened to Miss Curtis. The failure, though, of the executive to draw a line under such a messy situation, one that they are using to bring the parliament into disrepute that they blamed Miss Curtis for. So when Labour promised to listen to us, it was on their term, only if it suits or benefit them. But hold on there. Teddy Lee Gray, I saw your name. Bangarang me soon go on in the Labour Party, you know. Because on activists them, on social justice, not social justice, on a political activists them, there's a hereditary system in our politics where it's a generational thing. If you're not part of a certain family clique, you can't get in a politics. Because every one of the thief them were up there. They make sure pull up them picnic with them. Or them friend pull up them friend picnic. Before Pernell Charles left him pulling two for him, Precious Allen. One of the Bruce Golden daughter get in the Senate because of politics. Matthew Samuda get in the Senate because of daddy over there. So Julian Robinson get Miguel Phillips get there because daddy did it so. The Duncan them get there so because daddy did it so. And now we see Tom Tavares, a Harleen, one of him son, Christian Tavares Finson. But Teddy Lee Gray is not happy. He's one of your political activists, Jamaica Labour Party. And Teddy Lee Gray is saying, you can't get Carl some other seat. It will be a bangarang, go look seat somewhere else. So the breakaway starting at the Labour Party from one level at the moment. How long? Because we don't say it up there, so bangarang up there so already, you know. Ernest Simmet data get in because Andrew Holness, whole Ernest Simmet, whole he. So them have to put in Marsha as a payback. Just like how they did have to give Patrick Allen Governor General position because Patrick Allen thief up church Adventist church money, help them. And when the church money were why they gamble with go boss. Him friend them give him a payback spot in a Governor General for them swindling up the for payback for him crime. The easy jerk world. So your activist, Teddy Lee Gray, Andrew Holness, is not having the Christian Tavares Finson as a replacement for Carl Sumoda's seat. So it will be a bangarang between Uno. But let's see how long. Let's see how long it's going to take for bangarang to break loose Lenford Wilson up atop this one. Because we know say an act the whole on one act. A holy pound one knife Andrew at the moment. Because Andrew have a lot of you MPs around the country on knife edge come next September. The signal has been sent to a lot of you in the local government election. The continue drifting south morally. And with the other word name, momentumly for the Jamaica Labour Party. It doesn't look good for some of you across the country. The recent poll will come out shows a looming catastrophe ahead of the Jamaica Labour Party. So me know say at some point, unless all of you plan to go down on a sinking ship, somebody will have to poke the knife at Andrew Holness. Somebody will have to knife Andrew in his back. Will it be Tufton? Will it be Vaz? Will it be his own housemate? Sarah's Aries, how are you? But there's so much going on in our country. But we need to keep focused on. But let's read what this lady says. Let me share my screen for you, please. Hold on a second. I don't know what happened to my camera tonight. It's just freezing. Let me, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. All right, let me see the size over here. Okay, CRC settle on phase 1. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou Fort says the Constitutional Review Committee has now signed off on its list of recommendations, and a document is being prepared for the signatures of committee members. The announcement was made at the launch of the European Union funded 3-year project by Jamaicans for Justice titled Promotion and Protection of Human Rights in Jamaica through Education, Advocacy, and Legal Support Services on Monday at the Pegasus Hotel. The recommendation seeks to address matters in phase 1 of the constitutional reform work program, which includes the abolition of the monarchy, establishment of the Republic of Jamaica, and propose amendments to the deeply entrenched provisions of which a referendum is required. Marlene Malahou Fort disclosed that the report will be presented to Cabinet, tabled in Parliament, and given a national forum for the public to debate it in its entirety. However, she has not given a timeline for the tabling of the report in Parliament. She opined that there are many lessons to be learned about how the work is done, and it is my hope that we will demonstrate in a real way that will build the trust and consensus that is required to move the work forward. Now, with such a vague explanation, there's nothing I can explain to you here because I don't know what Marlene Malahou Fort is talking about. But I read it for you, so in case you never buck up on it, you see it for yourself. Now I'm going to move on to Dr. Mikey Abrahams and his whataboutism article. Bear with, please. Just a second. Don't do that. Okay. All right. Right. Let me shuffle my way through this now. Michael Abraham, political whataboutism and binary thinking. Recently, I came across a post on social media platform where someone expressed the view that our Jamaica Labour Party government is corrupt. Someone else commented on the post asking, what about the People's National Party? That they are corrupt too, because before accusing the person who made the post of being a comrade, this type of response, which is unfortunate but uncommon, display two flawed mood of thinking: whataboutism and binary thinking. Whataboutism refers to responding to an argument by changing the subject to focus on someone else's shortcomings or misdeeds. Binary thinking referred to thinking in black and white, seeing things as good or bad, or right or wrong, and being usable to see a middle ground. And being unable to see a middle ground. Both type of thinking are faulty and unhelpful when discussing our politics. Let us be honest, both of our political parties leave a lot to be desired. Both are guilty of corruption, vote buying, voter intimidation, engaging in service of thugs to do their dirty work, selling out areas and assets of Jamaica to foreigners and other aristocrat, I think. That's all. Both parties have also had leaders who have been blatantly dishonest with the Jamaican people. For example, when Bruce Golding was Prime Minister, then leader of the opposition, Portia Simpson, criticized him for having a cabinet too big. She jokingly remarked that it was not a cabinet, but a break front. She won the next election within weeks, announced an even bigger cabinet. Before being elected, our present Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that in the first 100 days in office, he would institute fixed election date and term limit for prime ministers. He has been leading the country for 8 years and is yet to do so. Both political parties have major deficiencies, but that would not prevent one from voicing concern about either side. When rational concerns are directed at the opposing party, they should be seriously, as it is vital to have a strong opposition to keep the government in check. When concerns are voiced about governing party, we should not be distracted by the complaint about the other side. We must be able to critically evaluate the government and call them out when they make moves that are not in our best interests. After all, they are the ones responsible for running the country. It is they who make decisions that affect our daily lives. Just because the other party may have similar flaws does not mean we should ignore what is happening with the folks who are running things. Malfeasance and corruption in our government would be called out and rejected, regardless of who is in power. Pointing out the other side's shortcomings is not a useful way to argue these issues. Similarly, binary thinking regarding our politics is also of little value and distracts from the issues at hand. Seeing things in black and white, or in the case of green or orange, will often lead to erroneous conclusions, Criticizing the Jamaica Labour Party does not necessarily make one a comrade, and criticizing the People's National Party does not make one a Labourite. Yes, some people are stridently partisans and will never accept any criticism of their beloved party, the so-called Labourite and comrades for life. But some of us are neutral. In fact, the majority of the country has little regard for either party, hence our embarrassingly low voter turnout in recent years. Binary thinking has been a persistent source of annoyance for me for several years. Sorry. People need to understand that not only can a person be critical of a party and be neutral, but they may also be critical of a party they voted for and felt let down. This has been my issue during last two administration. I voted for Portia Simpson Miller and the PNP following Bruce Golden Dodusty Valley debacle. However, as her term progressed, I became uncomfortable with some of the administration action and expressed my views. Some people honed me and labeled me a Labourite. Oblivious, to the fact that their beloved Sister P was sitting in the position she was because of people like me who believe in her and voted accordingly. Similarly, I thought Brogard deserved a second chance and vote to keep him in office. Unfortunately, I am deeply disappointed with him and his administration and have voiced my concern, which have caused some to label me as a comrade. I am neither Labourite nor comrade in the above mentioned cases. I expressed my dissatisfaction because what I saw was not what I voted for, and I felt betrayed. We should be able to voice our views objectively without fear of being labeled of having detractors attempt to distract us from the issues we are concerned about. This is our country, a beautiful country. We must do everything we can to protect it. And this involves speaking out against corruption, injustice, and incompetency, regardless of whichever side of the aisle it originates. For those of you who doesn't know, that's the end of the article. Dr. Mike Abraham is an obstetrician and gynecologist. He's also a social commentator and a human rights advocate. And why I always, Rosemary Samuels, like reading Dr. Abraham's article, Claudette Fletcher. He is quite of a balanced thinker and a balanced writer. And for a lot of us in the social media commentary area, it's where we want to get our people in political thinking. Step away from the diehard politics and the partisanism and be in the center of your country. Meaning, regardless of your political persuasion, you shouldn't be blind to the flaws of your political party. You should be able to criticize your political party and still support them. It is what good politics demand, because regardless whatever decision our political leaders make affects all of us on a day-to-day basis. So the people becoming involved in their politics will be a game changer. The people leaving their politics, Jamaican Carlos, Wagwan, me there read, me never say you arrive. With us staying out of our politics, it's not going to get any better. And it is for that reason why our political leaders, Patricia Williams, can get away with all that they get away with, because we are disengaged or we are too partisans. For us who are not too disengaged from the system, then because we are so partisans in our politics, we can't see when our political party or our political leaders, Pauline Dixon, goes the wrong direction. I see with the whole Paula Llewellyn situation, rather than people looking at it from the constitutional point of view, you have one side is saying the reason why labor writers fight, forget keep her. Even me sometimes is of that view. It's because of the Vibes Cartel issue. They want her to go forward on the Vibes Cartel issue. Me, not so much of that. It's more of blocking probably illicit 6 or SSL or whatever. Then you have another side, which is saying the reason why the People's National Party is going after Paula Llewellyn is because Paula Llewellyn is going to go forward with the Chafiguru prosecutions. Whether any of that is true, though, the issue here, it is about our constitution and the way the executive use our constitution to extend the life of an office. Roots, how are you? So this issue of the tenure of the DPP, the extension of the DPP, is nothing to do with the cartel issue, is nothing to do with Chafiguru issue, the way it was taken to the court. Regardless of the reason why the amendment was done, that was not given to us. But the reason why it was taken to the court is how our legislative process, Paula Shelley, was violated in a way to unlawfully amend our constitution as the court ruled or declared. So people involvement in our politics matters. When government think and feel that they're left alone, they go haywire. But when the people are watching, when the people are concerned, when the people are pushing back, there's a limit to how government behaves. The wanton behavior from our leaders is because they feel armchaired, relaxed to do so, because us, the public, are disengaged, or we don't care too much, or because it's our party, we suffer in silence. We must change this type of politics, my people. We must be able to look at it objectively. We must be able to look at it for future development and not just for the party numbers benefit at the moment. It must be about the country and about the people. Thank you very much for being here tonight. And if you have not yet, please subscribe to the link in the top of the chat if you want to support Amber and her work that she's coming over to YouTube to do, because you know the debacle that is going on at IRA FM and with Matthew Samoda, from she exposed Matthew Samoda's lie, she has been under attack. So please hit the link and give her page a strength. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Join us back here tomorrow morning for your At a Glance program. Thank you all very much for your continuous support on the Global Television Group. I really appreciate your ongoing support. Thank you all very much, and good night from the Global Television Group.